Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Brazilian President hold delegation-level talks in Brasilia. Warm ceremonial welcome for the Prime Minister was given as he became the first Indian Prime Minister in 57 years to visit Brazil on a state visit. India and Brazil exchanged MOUs in the presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Brazilian President. The Brazilian President also conferred Brazil's highest civilian honor, the Grand Cola of the National Order of the Southern Cross, on PM Narendra Modi. This is the 26th international honor bestowed upon PM Modi by a foreign government since he assumed office in May 2014. Now, the MEA has also reacted after the bilateral talks. He had said, and I quote, PM Narendra Modi met with President Lula de Silva, Brazil, at the Alvorada Palace in Brazil. PM thanked and both leaders held extensive discussions on various topics including trade, investment, defense and security, health and pharmaceuticals, space, renewable energy, food and energy security, infrastructure development, digital public infrastructure, culture and people-to-people ties, and explored avenues for collaboration in the new areas of critical minerals, new and emerging technologies, and supercomputers, digital collaboration and mobility. They set a bilateral trade target of $20 billion over the next 5 years. They also exchanged views on regional and global issues of mutual interest.
आज राष्ट्रपति जी द्वारा मुझे ब्राजील के सर्वोच्च राष्ट्रीय सम्मान से विभूषित किया जाना मेरे लिए ही नहीं बल्कि 140 करोड़ भारतवासियों के लिए भी अत्यंत गर्व और भावुकता का पल है। मेरे मित्र राष्ट्रपति लूला भारत और ब्राजील स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के चीफ आर्किटेक्ट हैं। हमने आने वाले 5 वर्षों में द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को $20 बिलियन तक ले जाने का लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया है।
And joining me on the broadcast, Uriah Fancelli, international relations analyst from Brazil. Thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. Let me begin by asking you, what is the significance of the visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Brazil?
The visit celebrates 80 years of diplomatic relations between Brazil and India, but it goes far beyond symbolism. It's part of a broader effort to strengthen ties between Latin America and Asia at a time when geopolitical tensions, ongoing wars and a growing US pressure are reshaping the global landscape. A range of bilateral deals are on the table, including agreements in security, renewable energy, agriculture and technology. Trade between the two countries are booming. It hit $12 billion last year and it's already up to 24% in 2025. India is now Brazil's 10th largest trading partner and 6th biggest source of imports. But I think what really matters here is the symbolism of this visit happening during the BRICS summit. Because if there's one thing that Brazil and India have in common, it's the effort to push back against the anti-Western, anti-democratic tone that China and Russia have brought to the group. So when the two countries show unity like this, they're also sending a message. They can work with everyone and keep things pragmatic.
Rightly said so. You know, the US president has said that there will be an additional 10% tariffs for BRICS nation. Will Brazil and India unite over this?
He shows us a few things. First, about Donald Trump himself. He just can't help but make everything about him. His ego is so big that the statement only came at the end of the summit, just to make sure he stays in the spotlight. Second, despite his threats, there hasn't been any concrete action. So in a way, it's Trump showing that he doesn't like being on the receiving end of the agenda. He likes to set the agenda. Now, both Brazil and India need to be very cautious in how they will respond. India was hit with a 26% tariff back in April and Brazil with 10%. So yes, this has economic consequences, but they weren't hit as hard as countries like China, Vietnam, or Laos. If Brazil and India choose to respond, they will have to strike the right balance.
Right, Mr. Fancelli, you know, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Brazil, he has echoed the sentiments that the world also feels it. The anti-terrorism message after what happened in Pahalgam, we saw it, and the world has seen how Pakistan and its proxies continue to bleed India. How does Brazil come out in support of India's message against terrorism?
Brazil has made a point of standing with India in the fight against terrorism, and that became especially clear during the BRICS summit. The joint declaration strongly condemned recent attacks like the one in Pahalgam, calling terrorism criminal and unjustifiable, echoing India's message word for word. But beyond words, there's action. Brazil and India are preparing to sign a bilateral agreement on counter-terrorism, cooperation, and the protection of sensitive defense data. In a moment where many countries remain vague or neutral, Brazil is signaling that it's ready to be a serious and responsible partner to India on global security.